Hey there, welcome to the Sunday Smackdown. For today's video, I want to talk about Janet Jackson having a baby at 49, her first child at 49, and also talk about the idea overall of delaying parenthood, delaying pregnancy. So it's interesting with Janet Jackson how a whole bunch of people have comments and opinions on her having a baby at 49, and when I looked at all of the reports stating that sources say she's pregnant, first of all, there's a question as to whether or not she is pregnant, and then also, there are some debates about whether or not this is truly her first child. I am going to put that aside and really address the comments that I've been seeing from a lot of young women stating, well, is that a good idea to have a baby at 49? You know, you're kind of up there, and citing medical reasons why she shouldn't be doing that, citing lifestyle reasons why she shouldn't be doing that. My opinion, I'm smacking down all of those comments because really, if she's in a position where she feels comfortable health-wise and lifestyle-wise to be able to bring up a child, and she's at a point in her life where she's ready to do this, then by all means, who am I to judge? Do what works for you. Despite all of the lifestyle questions and the medical questions, if she's in a position in her life where she feels ready to be a mother and to be a great mother at that, then by all means, do it. Just make sure that you're taking into consideration all of the risks and use precaution while going through this process. That said, it's interesting to juxtapose all of the comments criticizing Janet Jackson having a baby later in life with the fact that there are a lot of studies out there stating that millennial women are actually delaying pregnancy due to the economic crisis back in the earlier 2000s, like 2008 and so forth. I was actually reading an article on Washington Post citing that millennial women are slowest to have babies of any generation in US history, stating that between 2007 and 2012, just before and right after the recession, birth rates among American women in their 20s declined by 15%. Financial hardship causes young women who aren't worried about the biological clock to say, things are tough right now, let me put this off because I can. The article goes on to say birth rates in the United States remained fairly stable from the 80s to the early aughts, but began to dip by 2008, especially among women entering their prime childbearing years. By 2012, millennials reproduced at a pace that would lead to 948 births per 1,000 women, by far the slowest pace of any generation. And by the way, all races experienced a birth decline, and it's way too early to tell whether or not millennials will have fewer children than previous generations. But that said, I really, number one, caution all of those people who are smacking down Janet Jackson for having a child later in life. You know what? There's a whole generation of women who may actually follow in her footsteps, so you may want to not criticize so much because this may be a trend. And then two, in my opinion, now I'm not a doctor, so I can't speak to the medical elements, but if you don't feel ready to have a child, you shouldn't feel pressure because of a ticking clock to have a baby at a point where you're not ready to have one. I feel like you should really feel comfortable with that decision. Now, some of you may disagree with me and feel like, well, no, there are certain years that you should definitely have a baby, and after that it's a bad idea for XYZ reason. I really feel like be comfortable. When you're ready to be a mother, then be a mother. And some other elements that go into this is relationships. A lot of women may want to wait until they're married, until they have a baby, but what if they haven't found that right person? And with the way the dating scene is these days, it's pretty tough sometimes to meet the right person. And so if you want to wait until you're married to have a child, and let's say you don't meet that right person until maybe your late 30s or your 40s, maybe that's the best time to have a baby, when you have the right partner who will create that family unit that you're looking for. And then if you take into consideration career ambitions, which definitely ties in to economics and people really revving up to feel comfortable financially with having a baby, there's just all these different things that go into it. I say, first of all, make sure that you do what's right for you. Don't let other people dictate to you when you become a parent. If that's society, if that's social media, ignore all of that, in my opinion, and do what's right for you. But then also talk to a doctor. Ultimately, there is a ticking clock at stake, so it's such a good idea to make sure that there are no surprises when you choose to decide, when you feel like you're ready to have a baby. The last thing you want is a doctor telling you something that freaks you out. So it's all about making educated guesses along the way. So that's my Sunday Smackdown. Thanks for watching. I have more videos on the way, so stay tuned.